We are looking at the impact the pandemic has had on children and how they can rebound in the coming school year. Pam Allen is the author of Every Child a Super Reader, second edition, 7 Strengths for a Lifetime of Independence, Purpose, and Joy. And Pam Allen joins us live. Pam, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
So
Happy to be here.
We all knew this pandemic was tough on kids not going to school, but is this true that you say in the last year and a half when schools were shut down, the average IQ of kids dropped 20 points?
There are a lot of studies coming out now showing a lot of different impacts that the COVID pandemic has had on children in terms of both academics and also their social engagement with others and how that really helps them learn. One great thing that we know, though, is children are incredibly resilient and able to bounce back in many different circumstances, and this is going to be one.
You also talk about the reading crisis specifically and how the pandemic impacted children's ability to read.
Yes, definitely. I think we're going to see some long-term impact from the pandemic on reading results, because one of the things is that no matter what, children do really need to be side by side with loving mentors when they're learning to read. Some of the hidden impact of the pandemic is that reading involves the learning and study and practice of phonics, so sound-based learning to read is very important for children. One of the things that has been very hard for teachers is that children have been masked. They've been learning on Zoom. It's not always so easy to learn to read that way. However, on the good side, there are a lot of really great things that happen when you learn to read as well, about connecting with others, which I think the pandemic showed children that we can connect through the read aloud. We can connect through just being with our teachers virtually and reading and experiencing a book together, and being with your family and actually getting offline a little bit more, reading together, talking about books around the dinner table. We've heard increased volume of all of that. So I think while there's some very serious implications of these last 2 years around the reading and learning to read issues, I'm very hopeful that with some effort and thinking about what we can do to ramp up some of those missing strategies and those missing pieces, we'll be in good shape if we really think about what are the things that we're missing during the pandemic, some of those practice points, as I mentioned earlier, but also let's take what was best from the time we've had and bring it forward, that sense of connection.
I do remember when my kids were young, and there was this mom who had like 3 kids that were like brilliant, you know, in the head of every, and I was just, you know, I remember asking her what she did, and she's like, nothing. They read, you know, and she's like, they'd read comic books, they'd read anything. So she just encouraged, throw anything at it, doesn't matter. Just get them to, even if it's a comic book, right? Any kind of reading's good, right?
Absolutely, and that's something that Dr. Morell and I talk a lot about in Every Child a Super Reader, is reading everywhere and reading everything is extremely important. If you see your child reading the back of a cereal box at breakfast, try not to rush. Even if you're on your way to work and they're on their way to school, take a minute to say, that's amazing. That's part of yourself growing as a reader. If you see your child rereading a graphic novel or a comic book, don't be quick to say you should read something more serious, because children are building fluency, vocabulary, and stamina when they're reading a lot of different varieties of things and learning that reading can be joyful.
Pam, I'm just curious, in your research, talking about reading in the pandemic, did you notice disparities, different parts of the country where, or even specific states where kids did better with reading during the pandemic compared to others?
Well, it wasn't so much geographic really at all. It was more the fact that where children didn't get a really great access to the internet, where technology was very slow to be implemented at home, where children did not have access to the technology they needed to stay in touch with their teachers, that's where we saw the gravest disparities and gaps. And that happened all across the country. But I think it's really a wake-up call, you know, for all school districts. I think did a great job really pivoting. We had many school districts, I'm inspired to say, that went ahead and actually sent packs of books home, because we know that the studies show, in fact, the latest NAEP study shows that children who read print books actually score much higher academic children who read just digitally.
Fabulous. All right. Well, you can follow Pam Allen on social media and check out PamAllen.com. That's Allen with a Y, and DeweyCommunity.com. Thanks, Pam.
Thanks a lot.